So I spent 4 to 5 years building my dream IS. And at this point, it's great. It works well. But there's really one defining week of, where this thing really shined. And that was, the week of sorted, or week before sorted. Wednesday comes around. We go to the drag strip with my engineering buddies for engineering class, and I blow everyone out of the water. It's great. Then that Saturday, I go drifting, and it does great. I come back, and it's Thursday, and I have to go drive to the airport to pick up some buddies actually, it's all the week of my 21st birthday. I have to drive to the airport to pick up my buddies, and I'm like, I gotta take the cool car. And make it down the block, and it's missing. So I'm like, great, okay. Order plugs and coils, and they're gonna be here Tuesday, is what it said. At the time, I didn't think anything of it, because I was like, I don't have anything to do. Friday comes around, and I'm sitting in a frat house, just hanging out. And I always pick up my phone, so I'm like, just chilling. Random number, I'm like, hello? I'm like, hey man, it's Rob Freddy. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing, man? Like, hey, what's going on? It's like, hey, we'd love to have you on the show. Can you make it to Palm Beach International by, Monday? I'm like, you mean next Monday, right? He's like, no, man, this Monday. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it my best. Sunday rolls around, me and my buddy Ian get in the car, and Rob calls, and I'm just thinking, hang out. I'm like, can I call you back? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so now I'm just thinking, is this possible? Like, how am I going to do this? I'm still in school. I got stuff to do, whatever. All the guys are like, you got to make this happen. By the grace of God, all the parts come in the next morning, and, we got to work. And the car worked. It still had old pads. The fluid was old, I did what I could, and the only option was road trip. So we were like, okay, well, pieces are falling into place. We got to do it. We can't not. It's wrong if we don't. And we get in the car at 10 p.m. Sunday and just start going. 2 hours into the trip, I hit a possum, lose my splitter that I made somewhere in Pennsylvania, crack the front bumper, keep making it further down. And at this point, I'm in almost just before Virginia area. And some Focus ST comes up beside me, and he's like, honking. He's like, let's race. I'm like, no, it's 3 a.m. Like, I don't want to deal with this right now. And basically, I was like, all right, fine, and I put buses on them and, make my way a little further. And at this point in Virginia, I haven't really been this far south before, driving on my own. I didn't really know that, gas stations are so sparse. And I'm looking, I see one, I'm like, I'll get to the next one. And there was the next one. It was 30 miles. And I was like, can I turn around? On the highway? I'm like, no. And I run out of gas. And I'm like, Ian, get up, man. We got a problem. I'm just riding the hills as far as we can. Just get up to my favorite number, exit 23, and call AAA. Pull up with some 89. And I'm like, great. Basically, put in the car. It gets me going. Further down, we're making our way. Get to Savannah, Georgia area. And at this point, I'm in the passenger seat doing engineering work, and Ian's driving. And it's like he's parting the sea. I've never seen so much water on a highway. I thought we were going to hydrolock the car. It was it was monsoon. It was gnarly. Middle lane, just everything just going between. I'm like, we gotta make it. We can't not at this point, right? It's everything's against us, and we make it through it. Finally, just smooth sailing. Took us 23 hours. We get to Palm Beach International, and we're there. It's the Golden Gates, pretty much. We're like, thank you, Lord. I'm done. Pull up. The whole line of cars are already there. And, one after the other. I see the Supra, I see the S2000, I see the ZR1 C7. I'm like, that's what we gotta go against. See the brand new Porsche, the Viper. I'm like, come on. And I didn't know, actually, at the time who I was versing or any of that. I'm thinking, okay, it's a ordeal where you're supposed to bring a home-built race car or whatever that you built at your home and you drive it there. But no, everyone trailered their cars. They were there, and they were all new. Everyone was great. It was super cool. And even though it ended up coming to be a shop show where different shops competed against each other, I felt good to be a part of how the show originally set out to be. The home built race cars that budget, put together, work, drive there, and all the things. So I felt like the people's champion. I did it for the people. Which is good because I wasn't about to win anything else. I mean, $200,000 Porsche that makes 1,000 wheel horsepower, 1,700 horsepower Viper. What am I gonna do here? I'm just hanging out. So I treated it as a vacation. I had a blast. I walked in, and it's just like, I'm walking in. It's my heroes. I see Matt Farah. I see Amelia, and I see Rob, and then in the corner I see David Patterson. I'm like, you're not supposed to be here, man. I'm like, hey man, like, I know you. That's where our relationship kind of like grow to fruition. He's super into Star Wars. I'm super into Star Wars. We're just nerds. Next day, we drive the cars for PR stuff and just, taking on the highway. We're all like just doing our things. We're getting cool rollers and stuff. Actually, Amelia hopped in my car with Dave, which was cool. And I was like, hey, you guys. It just felt cool. Like, I had the car with 4 doors. I had the ones that everyone kind of wanted to come to. Amelia and Matt are celebrating the car. They love it. I feel great. It's an amazing feeling. Rob, not so much. He's an exotic guy. It's okay. Actually, it was funny. One little funny thing is when I freaked out immediately. And when Matt went to take the car out, I was like, oh no! I forgot to tell him that the gauge cluster doesn't match up by any means. I have like a point on the gauge cluster where you're supposed to shift, and it's just below like it's like 9,000, and then it's like there's an X below because it's just not calibrated for. It's like a 4-cylinder Altezza cluster that's not calibrated for 2J. So I'm like, oh no, he's not going to rev it nearly as far out, which Rob never did so he never revved it out. So he was like, this thing's got no power band. And I called him like, yo, have you driven it yet? You just rev it to X. And he's like, okay, man. But it was an incredible experience. Tanner Faust took the car out on track, and the fluid's boiling. He says the pad's got nothing left, but he loved it, and I was proud. It's not the situation where I wish I could have brought the car, ready. But that's what I set out to do over the next, years, to bring the car to the point that I always needed it to be. But Sorted was just such an incredible experience. I got to meet such amazing people, go to the track, be a part of it, and do engineering work while I'm up there, while I'm like watching my car, like, oh, that's kind of neat, man, and like see, Tanner Faust drifting it on the side. It was a cool experience. Now I'm driving back to New York, the 24 hours, and this one goes a lot smoother. So I get back, and I knew that the turbo was, leaking past the seals. So, okay, I bought a new turbo, put the turbo on, and retune it. And, it makes 100 less horsepower than it was supposed to. And we're like, what's going on? And I drive it the next day, and it starts missing. And that's where it all happened. I actually had money saved away for an RX-7 FD. And I said, RX-7 FD or build my dream IS. And I couldn't abandon the car. So I sunk it all in the IS. I can finally do what high school me set out to do. I'm about to go out into the real world and get real big boy jobs and big boy money, and I'm going to make bad decisions and put it all towards my car. And that was the start of really 2.0 version of the car, which is technically 4.0, whatever. There's a lot of different stages. But yeah, it's that was the beginning. I owe it all to that show.
This month we've got our 2 best deals ever back from Glossit. We've got their DIY ceramic coating kit, which is a $210 value, including their graphene ceramic coating, plus a bottle of their ceramic detail spray, which makes the application so easy an idiot like me can do it in my own garage. That's a $210 value for just $69.99. Or, if free is the better price, you can get a bottle of their award-winning detail spray for free. Just pay the shipping and handling. We've had to limit that, so I don't know how many are left, but check the links in the description below and find out which you can get. Either way, you're going to get some great Glossit goodness.